Good evening and welcome to the Jay Duke Show on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I have a very special guest tonight. Cassio Rivetti is joining me from Southern California. The two-time Olympian has quite the stories for us, for riding from Brazil, riding for the Ukraine, 2 World Games, 3 World Games, 2 Olympics, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what Cassio has to share with us. Lots of questions for him. We have superstar sponsors tonight. Farm Vet is with me, and as always, I love that company. Everything you need for your horse, all the products are there. The service is amazing, and I'm so grateful that Farm Vet is joining us again, and thankful and grateful for their support. Also tonight, we have equestrian.com. Equestrian.com is your resource for all things equestrian, from trainers to events, horses for sale to equestrian products, everything you need for you and your horse all in one place. I was going through their site, and I've been on it several times in the past, and it's basically like going to Amazon for your horse. Everything that you need, from looking up trainers in different areas, buying a bonnet for your horse, looking up horse shows, whatever you want to find, you're going to find on Equestrian. So for us old guys, it's like the yellow pages. For today's generation, it's like going on Amazon. Check out equestrian.com and you'll be thrilled. And speaking of equestrian.com, they have several great horses for sale, and many of those horses are being ridden by my guest tonight, Cassio Rivetti. So I'm going to bring Cassio on. Cassio rode for Brazil and the Ukraine. He's been to 3 World Equestrian Games. He's been to 2 Olympics. He won the Friday Grand Prix in Aachen, which is pretty much the second biggest class you could win in the world. Any win at Aachen is a special one, and to win the Friday Grand Prix really means a lot. And he currently is riding for Neil Jones Equestrian in the United States. So, Cassio, welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me. Where
are you joining us from tonight?
I'm in California, San Diego.
Nice. That's not a bad place to be. I hope you're all safe down there, and I know your horse showing, and it's good to be getting back at it after this odd year that we're all going through. Let's talk about. I love starting off the show with these you superstar riders, as far as how you began in horses. Like, what was your start? How did you end up where you are now? So let's take you back to your early days. How old were you, and how'd you get here?
Yeah, I started riding in São Paulo, Brazil, when I was 7 years old. My father, he had a farm with some horses, and he put us in a riding school just to learn to ride in the farm, nothing to do with the sport. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I was like obsessed with the horses, and every day I wanted to ride, doing more and more. I had my brother also that was riding. And when he went to the college, he stopped. But I was in love with the horses, and I never stopped from there.
Are there a lot of young riders in Sao Paulo that are really into the show jumping and into the equestrian? Like, how big of a sport is it there?
Yeah, the sport is quite big. Actually, in Sao Paulo and in Rio, we have some good shows there. A lot of kids doing the sport. Mm-hmm. But in Brazil, the sport is a little bit expensive for the. We don't have so many stables there. We have like kind of clubs that the people has to put to the horses there to start. So that's a little bit difficult that we don't have so many young ones doing, but actually the sport is improving there also.
Nice. That's great to hear. Brazil's always so prominent at the world level. It's interesting to hear. Obviously, there's some good skeleton of a system there on the
They ground. Have a lot of riders that are based in Europe now. A lot of good ones. So we have a good team.
Well, speaking of not bad Brazilian riders, you trained with the guy that everyone's going to know, Nelson Pessoa. An absolute legend in the sport. I just can't even imagine I've worked with some legends of the sport, like Ian Miller and people like that. And Nelson is right there in that category. What was it like training with him, and how did that start? How did you get to ride with Nelson?
So when I moved to Europe, 2003, I moved to stay with my friend Pedro Venice, also a really top rider. Mm-hmm. He was already in Europe for a year, and I finished my college in Brazil. And my mom said, "You have to do the college, and then you can go wherever you." Want. And I did, and then after that, I moved 2003 to Europe to stay with Pedro Venice there. Mm-hmm. He told me, "Come here, stay with me, and we find something for you, and you ride with my horse." So when I arrived there in Belgium, Pedro was working for a dealer, horse dealer, Christophe Amour, and I was riding with him. And Christophe had some horse together with Neco and Rodrigo.
Okay.
And that time, Rodrigo was looking for a rider because he had a lot of horses. Was before the Olympics in Athens with Balube. Mm-hmm. So I was lucky to be there at that time. And then I start first work for Rodrigo to riding his show horses. And then Neco also had some horse there with him, young ones. And then I start to ride also for him, for the team, Rodrigo and Neco. And I rode for 6 years. I learned everything there. They both are genius. Actually, Neco, he teach me everything.
Mm-hmm. Rodrigo is he's a pretty intense guy. You know, he's a little bit quiet and intense. What was it like training with him on a daily basis? Like, did he talk to you a lot and give you a lot of advice, or was it a little bit more just watch what I do and imitate that?
No. I had a lot of lessons. Neco was more intense on the training, mm-hmm. like to improve the horse, to improve our riding. That was really good. We had that also. Jos Kumps was a guy that was riding only in dressage, his Rodrigo's horse. So had a lot of lessons with Jos and Neco. And Rodrigo, he's more focused on the show. You know, he knows we go to this show. So what do you have to do to win there?
Right.
To win, yeah. He was more a showman, and horse Neco was improving our riding.
Okay, yeah, and that's a good combination to have those things. Is both obviously for your development. Both those things are so important. Challenges with show jumping is there's so many different elements to it. The competition, the training at home. Is there a specific thing you could share with the viewers as far as that Nelson said you, whether it be about competition or training or horsemanship, that's something that really stands out from the great Nelson Pessoa?
I always the dressage and the horse here always like into there, like you have to the horse has to be in this perfect dressage and the control everything on the dressage before you jumping. So control is really important. So I work on that until today. So I don't jump too much at home. I just work a lot of dressage and control of the horse, because if you have a good horse and they are ready to go, it's easier for us. So that's like the neck was really into that.
You know, that you bring up a good point, because a lot of people tend to over jump their horses. That's a very common thing that happens. Would you say, you jump school the horses once a week at home, or what would you say? And not counting horse shows, obviously, but if they're at home, how often?
If you are going, actually, because in Europe you go almost every week to the shows, so you don't have to train too much. But if you have like a period of 15 days off, you're gonna jump every 10 days. I don't do every week,
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice.
It depends on the horse. If you have a young horse, then you have to jump a little more. But my Grand Prix horse, they don't have to jump too much. Have to keep their mind fresh and.
And they know how to jump already. It's those fine details and the flat work and the pole work and all that sort of thing that is so key.
Yeah.
So you rode for Alexander Onyshenko, and I'd like you to explain, because I don't even know all the details with how this worked with this all-star Ukraine team.
Yeah.
And how did that all come together? And if you could explain that to people, how all of a sudden the Ukraine became this world power temporarily on the show jumping scene. How did that come about?
So I started riding 2008 for him. Just after I quit, actually Rodrigo that arranged for me to ride to Ukraine a little bit. After the WAG in 2006 in Aachen that I rode for Brazil. Mm-hmm. I had a sponsor that NECO arranged for me from Kuwait. And after that, the Ukrainian guys start to, let's say, flirting me, like, you have to come to my team. And in Aachen, the Ukrainian team was really strong. They finished in fourth in this World Championship. They had Katarina Offel, Jean-Claude Vangenberg, Gregory Watley, and Bjorn Nagel. And after the WAG, I think Gregory Watley fight with Onichenko, and then he stopped to ride, and he moved back to Belgium to ride. And they have one spot there. And my horse was a little bit old, the one that I jumped the WAG in Aachen. And I saw a good opportunity to ride him for Ukraine with a lot of good horse and to do the high level for many years. And actually, what was the proposal for him? To build a big, good team, strong team with 3 riders that he could do the Olympics. So because it's only 3 riders count on the team, so he was thinking, I need only 3 good ones that I can also go.
Okay.
And actually qualify for 3 Olympics for Ukraine. And he rode in Beijing, and then we qualified for London and Rio, and he rode also in London.
What was that environment like? Was there a lot of pressure in that environment, or was
we had a lot of pressure. When I changed in 2008, I started to ride for him 2008, and then but still in Brazilian nationality. And 2009, I moved to Ukraine to ride for Ukraine, based in Belgium always. And then it was a lot of pressure. We had a lot of pressure for the results, for the teams. A lot of changements of horses, like when I had a good horse and maybe if I had a bad results, he was given to the other rider in the team. So that was a little bit complicated.
Oh, okay. Wow, like a bad week, and then that horse is with someone else.
Exactly. And also after the WAG in 2010 in Kentucky, he really started to push for the Rio. He said, now for the Olympics in London, now we're gonna buy all horse in the world. We're gonna make a strong team for London. That was excited. And he told every rider can choose a horse, and I will buy. And then I think Katarina, she chose a Lord of Gishaluz. It was a horse that was jumping from Denmark, and he bought for her. And I chose Vivan, this one that's behind me. It was my best horse.
Okay.
For Rio. And then he bought the horse for Rio. And he bought another one for Bjorn Nagel. And that time was a lot of jealous between the riders. Not between us, but between let's say the was a German guy that was just managing the team, and he was like saying, this horse must be for this one, the other for, and he bought Vivan for me, and after 3 months he took away from me for himself. Then I thought, okay, it's his money, he has to ride. Let's find another one. And then we bought Santos from Scott Bash.
Okay.
We bought Santos for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know you rode Santos.
Yeah, a little bit, because I rode him for a month, 2 months, and the same. A lot of pressure in the team. Cassio is too young. Let's give Sanctus for Katarina Offel. And then they give Sanctus for her.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So that would be tough. These horses coming in for you, and you're a young up and coming rider, and you're giving world class horses to ride, but then all of a sudden being taken away, and it's almost there's some mind games going on there.
Exactly. And then after 6-7 months, Sanctus was doing well, but also a lot of pressure on Katarina because he paid a lot for the horse. I don't know if the horse is good enough. Let's sell him. They sold to Scott Brash, and the history you guys know. Yes. Best horse in the world.
Yeah. The only for those who haven't heard of Sanctus, the only Grand Slam winner in history, and maybe the only one that ever will win the Grand Slam. That's pretty tough to do. So, that's quite a story. The fact that you got to ride him, I mean, obviously it's a little bit heartbreaking, but still, the fact you did get to sit on a horse like that is very special.
And then he bought another 2 horses for me. One was the one that I jumped at the Olympics. Temple Road was the name. So I had him. He was doing not so well with Vivan, and he gave Vivan to Katarina to do the Olympics. After the Olympics in London, the team was not so good. They had a few bad rounds, and I was good on the final. I had 1 down and 1 down, and finished in 12th place. The day after the Olympics, all horses from the team went to my barn. So he changed. So he sent Vivan, the other one. So I had like a real group of good horses to ride. It was good experience for me going to the shows every week and 5-star with a good group of horses.
Yeah,
we had always the horses focused for the Ukraine team. So the shows that was not Nations Cup, we couldn't use the good horse. Only for the good shows. So I didn't do too much indoor shows with this horse, only outdoors, but was fun.
2015 European Championships. You're having a good week. You're sitting second overall. Going into Sunday, and they have the jog. And what happened?
So I was riding Vivan that time a year ago before the European. He finished 8th in the World Championship in Normandy. And in the 2015, he was already 17 years old. The horse, and he was jumping. It was his wake. Was jumping amazing. It was clear in the speed class, double clear in the Nations Cup. I turned less than a point for the first place, and then we had the vet check for the final. The horse was really good, moving perfect. We video him to be safe, and I arrived a little late on the vet check on the jog. Let's say on the jog, I saw other people talking, waiting, and a little bit pressure, and I thought he was a little bit lazy, but not lame. The holding box together with another German rider. That his horse was not so good, and I went with him in the lunging box. He thought his horse completely lame. I thought my one. The vet was checking, and the guy told me, if he was trotting like that, there was no problem, but there he trot a little lazy. I said, come on, that's how you can say that. Or the horse is good, or he's not good. And then I went back to trot there again, and he said, if you was trotting like that in the first time, you pass. But now we don't pass. And then they didn't pass me in the vet check for the final. It was a shame because the was the last show of the horse, and he could have a medal. Never know, but I was close to.
Wow, so that's pretty devastating. I mean, for those of you that have been through FEI jogs, it's generally a non-event. Things go pretty smoothly, but there's always that little bit of your heart's always a little bit up in your throat just when you're doing it. That's a common thing, and and these horses too. I mean, especially if like you're saying, we're a little bit quiet.
After 17 years old trotting, he was trotting exactly the same from the first day on the jog for the final, and a little bit tired after 3 rounds. 17 years old horse jumping like fantastic. So the horse is jumping well. He's not lame, but
no
problem. We're looking for another championship.
Well, and to have that sort of opportunity taken away, I mean, obviously the potential to be European champion is a big deal on your resume. So to have that happen, but unfortunately that is the sport, and we all move on, and there's other opportunities. I'm sure you'll be back there one day soon.
I'm still young. I hope I can do a few more.
Absolutely. So now so you had those very interesting experiences in Europe, and now you're in the United States and you're working with Neil Jones. So Neil Jones is a very well-known horse seller, very good reputation, and he's known worldwide. Sells horses all over the map. What's it like riding for a sales barn? I mean, there's a lot of riders that say they would like to do it. What are the pressures of knowing, okay, that horse could be sold tomorrow, the one, you put a year of work into and stuff. Tell us what that's like.
I like it. I like this pressure, to do the good results, to improve a horse. I love to do that, to get a young horse and improve for sale. It's good because we always have a nice horse to ride, because they are always selling but buying also new ones. We have to be on the show every week. It's a good pressure, and Neil is getting bigger and bigger here in California, with a lot of people wants to train with us, and feel good horses coming. That's excited. He loves to be on the show. Also, he loves to sell, but to compete also. Neil is a guy that push for the competition. I think that's good.
And so what was the decision to move to America, and specifically to California? How did that come about?
Well, I had always this in my mind. I say I'm gonna do my career here in Europe, and after I think I want to move to US, to America with my family. The life is much better than there for the kids and for my wife. So that's was one always we think about. And I was talking with Neil. I sent one time some videos for him, that some horse that I had in Europe for sale. And then he told me, why you don't come here? Come on, you work a lot already in Europe. You did all good shows, and here we have nice shows to do. The good people for training, and we need a guy like you. And then I say, maybe it's time to go. I spoke to my wife and say, let's go. We are open for new things. And then I really decided. I say, okay, Neil, I come. Where should we go? And he said, let's go to California. That is the place. The sport is improving a lot there, and I don't. It's good.
Having people like yourself and Neil in California, that helps too, because there have been some great California people that have gone east. It's interesting to see that, to have people coming west per se is, that only ups the level of the sport and ups the level of competition and brings everybody up. So that is really great to see that you're there.
I think it can improve a lot the sport here. We have the best weather in the world. We have a lot of riders, a lot of good riders. The sport can improve a lot here.
Yeah, no question about that. There's a lot of passion in California for the horses, and a lot of involvement. What has it been like this year specifically as far as sales go? With being shut down, did you notice significant drop off? In 20-
Yeah, they actually started really good for us. We went to Wellington. We jumped some Nations Cup for Brazil, some World Cups shows, and then when the Corona starts, really the off was really people stopped to do everything. But now it's coming back again. Last week on the shows, people start to ask again for horses, and actually maybe it's gonna be better now than before because they can't travel to Europe, so they have to buy here.
That's very true. Yeah, of course. And you mentioned competing in America and why you moved to America, for family reasons and personal reasons, and that you hear that a lot. A lot of riders have done that. What's it like? Can you talk to the viewers as far as going to a horse show in say in Germany and say in California? What's the difference in the vibe and how it's run?
Yeah, there we have here. That is more, let's say, a show in Germany is more traditional, and people like to stay on the show after the show, the competition. They live for the horse. And here we have the nice sport, but when it's done the class, everybody goes home. Maybe they are enjoying better the life, so they can go to the beach after showing.
Right.
I like that, can enjoy the family more. There, was only showing horses and stay on the show and party on the show, wake up at 6 o'clock to ride a class. And no, here we live a better life.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a little different priorities, a little different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, you have some interesting takes on your mental preparation for training and competition. Can you share some tips, like as far as you're going in the ring for a Nations Cup or the day before a Nations Cup or the night before? What can you help some of our young athletes and some of our Grand Prix riders watching right now as far as that works for Cassio Rivetti, so you walk in that ring ready to give your best?
I think the preparation for a big competition has to be not a day before, but a week before, a month before. If you are doing everything right with your horse at home, a nice working, a confidence when you're flattening your horse, when you're training your horse. I don't do a special, special concentration before a big class. Or no, I try to be myself, try to be the same, relax, and do a Nations Cup or a 140 class the same, because we have to jump the fences. You have to jump. It doesn't change if it's a Grand Prix or if it's a 150 class. It's the same fence that you have to jump. So I have to try to just be relaxed, concentrate in my horse, do a nice warm up, and then everything's gonna be okay.
So stick to your routine would be, one of the tips.
Exactly.
Be really consistent with your preparation.
In my preparation, I keep always. I don't change anything before a big competition. Try to be the same training, same. Maybe go for a dinner before that. You don't think too much about the show, because if you are thinking too much, tomorrow is tomorrow, then you get a little bit nervous. But I do a normal day.
Yeah, and I think it's important for riders to do what feels best for them. I know before a big class, for instance, sometimes you're up there and they're doing the build, and riders are waiting to walk the course and stuff. I'd say I would make sure I didn't get up there too early, because as a rider, you're sitting there and you're watching them build. And again, it played for me. It played with my mind. I like, you walk in the ring and you have your plan, and then you go about it. And there's some riders, of course, they like to get there early, and then they talk, and then they visit and whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm also like that. I always like to be the first on the team to jump, because I go there, I walk my course, I sit on the horse, I jump, and then I'm done.
Yes.
The good rider like John Whittaker, he has to go to the party a day before, and then he win the Grand Prix. So
yeah, well, the Brits had a pretty unique way of doing it, but I would agree with you. I love being first in the class too. That was my favorite place to go, and being the leadoff rider on the team was, to me, the best. Like just get in there, you have your plan, and go set the pace, and it's going to be so that's an interesting difference in mentality. Yeah, people like John Whittaker, he could ride first or last, and he could be out all night or not. It doesn't really matter.
And he's still winning.
Yes, yeah, for sure. What about your future plans moving forward? So you've had very, very successful career, and yet you're hungering for more. What do you see for Cassio Rivetti moving forward for you on the equestrian stage?
I still motivated to do a big competitions always. Now I'm focused more in here in California, but my motivation is to improve the sport a lot here, to prove the people that you can do the sport here, be successful here, and going to Europe and winning there. So we can do the good sport here if you have a good horses and a good level.
And do you did I say you said you have several people come to you? Are you doing training there as well?
I have some training with. I have some students that I also want to put one of my students in the U.S. team. That's one dream for me. I will put one of my students. I have few ones that are really good, so I'm sure that they're gonna be in the future in the U.S. team. I love to training, so that's give my motivation also.
Nice. That does mean a lot. I've been lucky enough. I've had 3 of my students go on to ride for the Canadian team, and watching them out there, and and you remember them, and you're working with them when they're 14 years old on their ponies and their first jumpers and stuff, and then they're in that ring and they're wearing that red coat. It's a good feeling for sure.
I'm more nervous when I watch my students ride than when I'm riding. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no question. My daughter is now competing at, she's 17 and starting to compete at higher levels, and that, you're just this the whole time. So in fact, your coaching and stuff is great. I have an online coaching program, and I'm definitely going to get some lessons from Cassio Rivetti. It's the largest online coaching program in the world. We have over 300 lessons at the equivault.com. And so I'm definitely going to be hitting Cassio up for some ideas to get his expertise to add to the training program. And the fact that we have people here have access to you, I'm sure you're going to be busier than you could ever imagine.
I'm happy to help.
That's awesome, Cassio. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure, and best of luck in the rest of 2020.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to thank my sponsors again, Equivant, for being here. If you want to see some pictures of Cassio jumping and such, go ahead and go to equivant.com. You'll see some of his wonderful horses. You can hear in what he's saying how good the program is, how solid the program is. And I'm sure those horses that you're picking up, obviously, you're going to know the flat work's going to be excellent based on everything he's told. And for all your marketplace needs for your horse, everything you need to find a trainer. You need to find someone like Neil Jones' show jumping team. Check it out. You'll run across people like Cassio Rivetti on equivant.com. It's a really fantastic site. And Farm Vet, they are the place to be. You'll look for the Farm Vet trailer at your local horse show. Go in there. You'll get great service. You'll see everything you possibly need for your horse. And we're hoping here in Canada to start showing again in August. And I wish, unfortunately, the Farm Vet trailer won't be able to cross the border and be there, but I wish they were. But check out farmvet.com, use the J Duke Show discount, and get all your products for your wonderful horses. Thanks for joining us tonight. As always, ride safely and respect the horse. Thank you.